The number one reason people reach out to me on Instagram is to ask me this one question. How did I get a job in tech? And believe it or not, I didn't get a computer science degree to get one either. So I thought, what better way to tell you my journey into tech than while I get ready for work? If that sounds good, follow me. One of the biggest misconceptions about being a developer is that you need to spend years in school earning a computer science degree, or it's too hard, or you need to be excellent at math. But let me tell you, that is not true. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Samantha Bertu, and I work full-time as a software engineer in New York City. And I am living proof that anybody can become a software engineer without a computer science degree. But I wasn't always a software engineer. I actually never thought of it as something I could do to earn a living until 2016. I had the same assumptions as you. I never even heard of the term until my last semester of college. There isn't a one-size-fits-all type of way of getting a job in tech, so let me take you all the way back to the beginning of my journey just to give you an example. My journey started my last semester of college. I went to college to study theater design, for sets and costumes. And I was also getting a minor in art. I landed in this class called graphic design, where I just found out there was this huge industry I could build websites for. Keep in mind, I never wrote a line of code. So I graduated college, and the first thing I did was move back into my parents' house. Duh. I did get a job painting sets for a small local theater and did some freelance work. But I always had this web design thing in the back of my head. So I started learning HTML and CSS. I thought it was so cool to write a line of code and see it appear on the browser. I found this new medium, a blank canvas, and the beginning of a beautiful piece of art. I was a working woman, so coding just became a hobby and soon faded away. Also, after a year of painting, I was freelancing and I wasn't really happy. I really had no direction in my life. So what else was I supposed to do? But book a one-way ticket to New York City. I actually never even visited New York City until I stepped off that plane. I picked up a bunch of odd jobs, working at a comedy club, waitressing, you name it. At some points, I was working 3 jobs just to make it. But I finally landed a salary job as a construction sign estimator. Don't worry, it's not as fancy as it seems. But about a year and a half later, I was so over my day job. I was in this dire need of change. All of a sudden, I came back to this idea of building websites. I remember how much fun I had. So I decided to go to a tech meetup, which kind of being the better decision of my life. So I met these 2 girls, and one of them told me they were joining a coding bootcamp. So I quickly ran home and looked up what that meant. And then bro, I saw that price tag and I was like, this ain't it. But I knew something had to change in my life, and this seemed like a promising path. So I began to save, stopped eating out, stopped all the entertainment. Every penny I could save, I put in my piggy bank. When I finally felt I had enough money, I started applying to boot camps. I applied to the Flatiron School and Grace Hopper Academy. And I quickly got the email saying, nah girl, you ain't it. I was discouraged, but not defeated, because at this point I knew I wanted to be a developer. So I took the risk and turned in my 2 weeks notice. After a month of studying full time, my self-discipline started to fall apart. I was sleeping in, not studying. I needed some more guidance. So I applied to one more boot camp, and I got in. This boot camp was full-time for 10 months. I studied JavaScript on the front end and back end, and I finished off with a capstone project. But be careful, because when you apply to boot camps, not all of them have your best interests at heart, because there are some scams out there. If you would like to see a video about the do's and don'ts of coding boot camps, comment below. Now the fun part, how I actually got a job. 1 month before I graduated boot camp, I won a scholarship to a tech conference. I met somebody there who knew somebody that knew a person that knew a guy who said that he had some jobs in the pipeline. Let's keep the story in our back pockets. It's going to be important later. Now back to coding bootcamp. After graduation, I did the typical job hunting process. Apply online, wait for that rejection email. If I was lucky, I would get a coding challenge, spend hours to days on that coding challenge, and never hearing back from the recruiter. I kept repeating this process. I wasn't getting anywhere, and I did this constant recursion for 4 months. I did get a total of 3 on-sites, which were final round interviews, and I had 3 chances to get into tech. And guess what? I got 1 offer. Look at this girl go. But believe it or not, I actually turned it down. At this point, you're probably like, what are you doing? It was a very hard decision, but I knew the company wasn't the best fit for me. So back to the interview grind. Then about 3 weeks later, remember that story I told you about the guy I met at the tech conference? You know, the one that happened like 30 seconds ago? Well, that guy sent me a message on Twitter, and he was like, you want to start the interview process? Of course I did. I did not have a coding challenge. We did an hour of pairing, and then I went to the on-site. And I got the offer the next day. I made it, y'all. And that is how I got my job in tech. Okay, I have to get to work now. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe and hit that like button. It's another free resource, and if you want me to share my experience on any particular topic, DM me on Instagram. You might get a shout out in my next video. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Peace.